Welcome to Let It Happen, the leadership conversation, where leadership is examined, not explained. This is a space for leaders who understand that change doesn't fail because of strategy. It fails of how we show up inside. Each episode is anchored in a chapter of the book Let It Happen. Not to repeat it, but to examine what it asks of us. I'm Mau Espinosa, leadership provocator and author of Let It Happen. I'm joined by Joseph Bartosik, leadership coach and practitioner, focused on emerging leaders and the next generation of leadership. Joseph brings the lens of becoming, the questions, the tensions, the aspirations of leaders early in their journey. Welcome. We don't like to do homework because since the very beginning of the time we heard the word homework, it was a negative thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You will come home and your parents are like, "You have homework?" "Yes." "Oh man, that'll be bad."
Yeah.
And now you're gonna spend all your afternoon doing homework.
Yeah.
And everything was, so the label was not put on you.
No.
The label was put on an assignment named homework, but the label is, that's a bad thing, that's a waste of time, that's gonna kill your afternoon, your free time, and it's not like, oh, that's gonna make you more smart.
Yeah.
Oh, see the difference on the labels? A lot of times we think it's labeled just to a person, but it can be to a task such as a homework.
Yeah, it can go anywhere, for sure.
And then today we look at executives when they have to do homework, that they don't do it because the label that we have created around it is, it's a bad thing.
It's bad. It's bad. Yep. It can go anywhere. Labels can go on things like, I was thinking earlier on my drive here, I was thinking it goes on days of the week. Mondays suck. Mondays are horrible. They're the worst day of the week. And I think to myself, I've never actually hated a Monday. Like, it sucks that the weekend's over, but I'm not like hateful of a Monday.
Right.
If anything, in my personal opinion, Wednesdays are the worst. It's not the first half of the week where I have the energy to do everything. It's not the second half of the week where I'm ready for the weekend. It's just right there. It's dead in the middle. There's nothing to do. I'm dead. I have no motivation. In my personal abject opinion, Wednesdays are the bad day of the week, but it's always Mondays are the worst, Fridays are the best, and I'm just like, we just labeled days of the week, and it's just a day.
And the impact that has on our energy, as you say, on our motivation, on the ways we view things, do things, approach things, tackle things. And so for me, this chapter of labels, which started as a nickname that I grew up with, which the nickname, honestly, I love the nickname. And, you know, the giving you the nickname of the best player in the world. Who's not gonna like that?
Yeah.
Right? The motive of why that nickname was assigned, that's what it became the label underneath. Right? So you have the nickname as a very positive nickname, but the underneath message that was sending me, it was very different, like a mocking thing. So the idea was not to create on this chapter the saying that nicknames are bad. Not at all. I think nicknames are, like you say, like sometimes it's like yo. As much as I have never let anybody call you yo, I love your name. I love Joseph completely. But in my case, Mau, right? There's a lot of people that call me Mauricio, but probably 80% of the people call me Mau. And it is a nickname or a short name, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
No implication. But the ones I worry really are all those underneath. When we start labeling our own co-workers, when we start labeling our own friends, our own situations, those are the ones that we need to be more careful of.
Yeah.
Right? Because the problem it becomes with that is this effect of mirrors. I don't know if it happens to you that you walk into a place and you feel very uncomfortable.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. And anybody on that room, they had not done anything on purpose to make you uncomfortable. Anything on the setup on that room has done absolutely nothing to make you uncomfortable. Yet you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So why is that?
I would say, personally, I think of just kind of picking up on minor things, minor subtleties that would make me uncomfortable in situations, which is just like subconsciously picking up on like little hints of human behavior, how people are moving or the way they have things set up, and being like, subconsciously I collect the information. I'm like,
And that is a mirror. So that basically what happens is, like, sometimes I feel this. I get into a meeting room and I'm ready to work, and I start feeling very self-conscious about something. And if I don't process why is it, whether it is because I feel like there's more knowledge in the room that what I can bring, or there's more energy or less energy, that's what that almost always kills me. When I walk into a room and I feel like there's a lot less energy. I used to work as a kid on, or growing up, I used to work on these places that the energy was always low, and I was just like, and if I start getting hyper, try to bring everybody up, they would put it down. Like, hey, we don't do that here. Hey, we don't do that here. And then you go with the hey, we don't do that here. When you go to that place and you're like, I know I need to increase the energy, but inside me is coming this, hey, we don't do that here.
Yeah.
That label is coming up, that I have to fight. Consciously, I have to fight with that one. I have to fight, say like, no, yes, I have to do that. Or there's some meetings in English, especially when I go, and understanding is not my first language. Understanding that I have a heavy accent in some places that I go, and I start fighting that self-awareness. And there's a mirror over there that everybody's looking at you, and you know, like, I know there's people in the past that they have done the can you say that again? Can you say that again? That I try to perfect so much my speech that I stop thinking on the idea, try to think more on what I'm saying. And that can happen to a lot of people, not just with the language, but with other things, right? So I don't know if you have gone through that one, when you are so worried about what you're doing that you stop thinking what you should be doing.
Sometimes, yeah. I'd say so.
Right? So it's very interesting how all these, as we go through life, the labels have what they have done to us. Now, we haven't talked about one of the worst labels, though.
Yeah.
You know, we have an inner narrative, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, we talk to ourselves all the time. How many labels do we put on ourselves?
I think we put a significant amount more on ourselves than anyone will put on us, for sure.
What do they do to us?
It definitely brings us down, because not only when we put labels on ourselves, it's always brought on by someone else saying something. Someone else will say something, they'll say one thing, and in our head, we'll turn that into 5 to 10 other things. Like, just through overthinking of, I keep getting a few questions wrong on a test or something, and I have to get corrected. Well, now I think, I must be bad at math, I must be bad at learning, I must suck at school, I must be stupid, I must not be able to learn, I'm stupid. And so I went from getting a few questions wrong to just thinking I'm stupid. No one outright said I'm stupid, but by following just this line of negative thought of spiraling and not catching myself, of just like, hey, maybe this question's just really hard for me for some reason, and I just need to reevaluate or ask more questions on how to get stuff like this right. I went on this spiral of just going to worse and worse thoughts, and now I'm not even going to try when stuff like that comes up again, because I'm going to think to myself, I'm stupid, I know I won't get it right, so why should I even try?
You know, the interesting part of that is that we do not do that with positive labels.
No.
We do not go through the same route on positive labels.
No, you get a good one and you leave it there. You're like, that must be it.
And you probably even question it.
Mm-hmm.
You probably go like, well, he really likes me. Or,
what are you talking about?
Yeah. Or you go like, oh, she was in a good mood, or whatever, whoever said it, right? But we don't spiral the positives. Do you know that that's because there is a higher level than that one? So the higher level is the one that has more power. Mm-hmm. So through culture, through time, through everything that we have gone, this higher negative label of, if I tell you don't do that, is more important than if I tell you do that. Mm. So the negative is stronger than the positive. And one of the reasons of that is because it's self-defense mechanism. We're trying to protect ourselves for a bigger negative outcome. So if I know, following your example, where you go like, okay, I'm stupid, I better don't do that. It's a lot easier to go like, okay, I fail, no, I'm stupid, right? There's the justification. I fail because, well, everybody knows I'm stupid, so. Rather than going through the positive that, you know, you're good, you're gonna overcome, you're gonna do this, and you go through that and you start building. When you fail, because you're working up here, when you fail, the drop from here to here is higher. Mm-hmm. And if we have not worked what happens from here to here, that again, we'll be working on that on the next chapters, then coming up from here is a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah. I mean, I see it all the time in school where I was never a big studying person. I wouldn't study a lot because my idea was I just have to pass, I just have to get through. I'm not going to try. This is a waste of my time. So I wouldn't study and I just test. And I was always a good tester because, I mean, tests in the public education system are relatively, in my opinion, multiple choice, very simple, very vomit the information that's given to you. Mm-hmm. And then I'd have friends who would study for hours, like actual study. They would do all the work that was assigned, all the homework, and they would do even more. They'd go above and beyond, and they'd test less than what I'd get for not doing anything, and I'd see the impact it had on them. Because they had this idea that I study, I try hard, I'm doing everything right. So I have to get it right. I will get it right. And then when they don't, it's this crash of what just happened.
Yeah.
I did it all. I did what I was supposed to and it didn't work out. And it's this idea that failing is this god-awful thing for us. And if you do everything right, you should automatically get the answers right. But things happen, we overthink, because we just overthink. Sometimes we don't get it right. And some people just don't test well.
Or we get nervous the day of the test.
Yeah, and it happens. Yeah. And it happens. And it plummets their confidence. And sometimes they'll just get this idea that, well, the label of, I just don't test well. I don't test well.
Yeah. And that, again, that extrapolates to businesses where, and I just had, again, I'm coaching this executive that is going through a hard time right now because he is doing everything his boss is asking him to do. You know, like, I need to do this, I need everything, every single thing he's doing. Yet the results of his department are not the one that the boss wants to see. So that's devastating. He was like, I do A, B, C, D, as they tell me to do. Here they are. Everything is done. And the results are not happening. And so that becomes very devastating. So he started creating this label inside him, like, I'm just not cut for this job. I should look for something else. So before we get into that, I said, okay, what are you looking at? And I know the financial statement as the grades in school is what matters. The grade matters, financial statement matters. So I need to look at the numbers over there. So okay, what involves A, what involves B, what involves C, and what's your energy, your emotion that you're doing behind them, that you're affecting the rest of the team. So what happens with those labels, and I'm sure that happens to with your colleagues and friends, is that they become self-confident. So they become, well, of course self-confident, but it becomes more like an ego thing. I'm trying to do it for me. I'm trying to work this because this is what I did, this is what I did, this is what I did. Instead of understanding this is the impact it's going to have. This is the impact it's going to have. So we're bringing the label to us instead of taking, if you will, the concept to the system around which will create the results. And that's one of the things I've been telling him, like, you're putting so much weight on you, so much pressure on you, and you're not utilizing the system that you have around you. Because if I go and I look at everybody of your team, only one that is performing is you. You're so worried about what you have to do to show your job, your boss, that you're doing what you need to do, that you're forgetting you have a system around you to give these results. Now in school it's different because you study for your test and your results. But how important it is for those of your friends that had to study the knowledge that I acquired for the future in some other things. But nobody in the system takes that into consideration. And that's why there is that lack of, why should I do it? Right?
Yep, no, that's the case. And that just goes into the public schooling, which is
That's a
whole nother opinion of mine.
That's your opinions.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's wrap this up.
Okay.
Let's wrap this up. Labels can be good. Labels can be bad. Conscious labels. I want to close with conscious labels. Which are the labels that we are using for us, that we're using for our people? How can we bring that leadership in, that we know that no matter what, labels are going to be there. Unconsciously, we're going to say it, right?
Yeah.
So conscious labels to your friends, to your loved ones, to everything that you do around you. Is there a way that we can be more provocative in creating positive labels and start going more down those rabbit holes on the positive side?
I think so. It comes down to knowing that labels, like any words and phrases, have the power that we choose to give them, and can only hurt or help us how much we acknowledge them or choose to look into them. And sometimes we have to take some emotions out of it and just look at things a little bit logically. And when we're giving labels to people or objects, we really got to make sure. And sometimes, even with me and some of my friends, I've had to clarify when I've said something about them label-wise, and I had to clarify, it's like, this is a good thing. I mean this from the bottom of my heart, that this is something I admire in you as a person. When I say this is me admiring you and your characteristics. I really hope you don't take it as a flaw, and if when I say it, you take it as something that hurts you, tell me, and I will stop saying it. Communication is very important when it comes to not just labels we put on other people, but when we put on ourselves. So when we put ourselves down in a situation, we have to have this acknowledgement and reflection of, hang on, I'm Like, if something just goes wrong, it's not, I'm a failure, it's not, I'm stupid. Hey, something went wrong. And maybe I don't know what that is, maybe I do. But just because this went wrong doesn't mean all this negativity has to rain down on me. It doesn't mean I'm stupid. It doesn't mean I'm a failure. It doesn't mean people hate me. It doesn't mean I can't do it again. This is just something that happened, okay? And I just have to realize that and acknowledge that something just went wrong. Something didn't work. It's not all these other things that I'm going to pile onto myself and create this ball of self-hatred and doubt. No. There's just some regulation we got to work on when it comes to these labels and how we choose to process them.
I 100% agree with you. And it just reminds me of some of the sessions that we do with horses. Mm-hmm. When we actually even tell people to go and, without saying the word label, sometimes, they're going, they're having this experience, and then we go like, go with this thought into the next exercise. Mm-hmm. So what we're creating there is a little hidden label, so they can trust what is inside, and the results that we see on those things are very interesting. It did remind me of Germany. Some of the processes we're looking and we're approaching some of the participants, and I remember you talking to somebody on the ear and getting a little back, and the completely experience just changed. Mm-hmm. And it's because that shift in their mind, that shift in their mind sends a signal to the emotions.
Yeah.
Because at the end, it's not what I think, it's what I feel. Do you agree?
I think I know exactly which one you're talking about. And it's when we work with horses, some people's immediate emotions and how they process things come to the surface so quickly without them even realizing it. Like when a horse takes a step away and they're like, oh, he doesn't like me, he's trying to get away from me. It's like, why do you think that? Why did you immediately go negative?
Exactly.
And it's these beautiful revelations that people come to, and it's just those simple questions that people start to think, and it puts them. It's a wonderful thing to experience.
Yeah, but exactly. That's the one, and that happens to us in so many scenarios on our lives, that we see something move, and our immediate reaction is the negative one.
Yeah. What did I do? What did I do? Do they not like me? We're walking down the street and someone's crossing away or decides to change directions, and we're like, what did I do? What happened? Not like me in multiple occasions. Oh, I'm walking the wrong way. I gotta go back. I need to be over there. and that's the reality of, like, sometimes we don't know what's happening all the time.
Right.
And we don't need to take just random everyday occurrences onto ourselves as something that we have to shoulder or carry as this burden or wound. Sometimes things just happen and there's no explanation, and sometimes we have nothing to do with it.
So to close this, I will encourage everybody that is listening to us, watching us, to change their narrative in their labels. To understand the labels that they have grown with. I don't care how old you are. You have a lot of labels in you, and I'm sure some of them are still affecting you. Some of them you probably already work with. Change the labels, change the narrative, change the way you talk to yourself. And it's a beautiful thing. It's not easy. It's not easy. But it's a beautiful thing when you start working with that and taking care of yourself. And if you like this podcast, next one, we're talking about heroes.
Heroes. Yep.
So, thank you, Joseph.
Anytime.
Very nice. And we'll see you guys next month.
Yep.